Hello, my name is Dr. Benjamin Prather, and I am a recent PhD uh, graduate at Florida State University, and I'm headed towards a career in teaching, but yet I want to keep my research chops a little bit active, and I thought that perhaps what I would do, one of the things that I liked about being in graduate school was you would weekly or routinely have meetings with people where you would actually discuss what you were doing with your research. And if you're in a teaching position, you're not going to have that so much because your priority is going to be teaching and your meetings are going to be focused around conducting the classes that are needed. So I thought one avenue that I could possibly pursue to do this would be on YouTube and present my research and at least have, at the very least, some accountability to myself to present some of my ideas. And one of the things that you would talk about in these seminars is like what you're currently working on or what you need to work on. And quite frankly, that is finding myself my actual teaching job that will pay my salary. Um, but there is some research needs that I need to work on. The first one is my thesis itself was intended when I originally spoke to my original major professor about it. The idea I had was, I wanted to study the Octonians, and the idea was I would write 3 papers and then staple them together and call it a thesis. And essentially, that is what I ended up doing. And 2 of those have been published already. And the third, which was the last part that was worked on, there is a result in there that is worthy to be published that I need to distill it down from the thesis as part of the embedded into the whole entire thesis into a standalone paper. That's something that is a pretty straightforward process that I just need to do and do it and then talk to some people and then get that submitted. So that is one thing that the most direct thing that I should do with my research. But then one thing that being in a teaching position as opposed to structured research, if you're in structured research, you're kind of tied to what your previous research is and what your grant funding is. And your grant funding is going to be based on your prior research. So you get kind of tied into what your research thread has been. So one thing that not being in the teaching position is that I get to do research more as a hobby than as the focus of my profession. So that gives me more leeway to kind of explore with other ideas that perhaps I'm not expert in. And one that I really would like to look at is something called the surreal numbers. And in particular, I think I have a result that I can put together for the surreal numbers, which is I believe that I can use the surreal numbers to explicitly construct in a very constructivist way, if you allow for infinity and infinite ordinals, a model of the hyperreal numbers without having to use ultra filters and the principles that are normally used to describe them. So that is one thing that I'm starting to look at. I'm reviewing Conway's On Numbers and Games, which is where the surreal numbers are authoritatively defined, and going over those definitions and just getting through the outlines of the proof that I have for that. And so that is the next thing that I would like to do. And probably for the next several of these, what I'll be doing, this is just an introduction to the seminar. A lot of times, like if you're in a graduate school, the beginning of the semester, you'll have an organizational meeting for a seminar, and it's just a short meeting, and everybody says when they want to give talks throughout the semester. And then once all the spots are taken, it's like, well, meeting adjourned, and everybody goes home. It's a short seminar, and usually people are happy about that. That's going to be the case today because, it's just kind of a brief outline of what I want to do, but probably in the future going forward, I'll be giving updates on my progress on getting this into published form, and then perhaps talk some about, give some introductory, just more to clarify my own thoughts and organize my thoughts as I'm working towards starting to write the paper. Just start giving some descriptions for the surreal numbers, like a half-hour talk, however far I get. And then that's probably what will be going forward. So that is what this is. And I've been wanting to do this for a little while, kind of struggling to find a point where to put this. I was thinking on the weekends would be good, but I moonlight at a restaurant right now while adjuncting at a community college. So the weekends have been not working out. I end up just being not motivated to do anything. So that hasn't worked out. But then I realized that this Thursday, I don't have classes on Friday. So this Thursday evening is really when I'm the most charged up and ready to like do a presentation or something on my research. So I think that this Thursday evening, this 4 o'clock time slot that I'm doing this seems to be pretty good. And I think that I'm going to try to live stream it on YouTube at 4 o'clock. So I'm going to make that a commitment that next week I'll be here at 4 o'clock, probably talking to myself, but hey, and hopefully see you then. Thank you for listening.